If in 2025 your goal is to read more books, this video is for you. I'll be sharing with you things I did to improve the number of books I read last year. So backstory, I used to be a person who would say I don't like reading books. I'd rather just maybe watch it on YouTube. The only issue with that is if you want to get deep knowledge, if you want to work on a journey of personal development, if you want to grow your understanding of certain things, of finances, of money, of time management, if you want to learn some things on leadership, I mean, you want to learn on leadership, for instance, John C. Maxwell is your go-to guy, okay? And then you don't like reading. How are you going to get knowledge? Most of his stuff is in books, and these books are so important. So I realized that, you know what, I cannot run away from books. So there's some things I did, and it really skyrocketed the amount of things or the amount of books I was able to read last year. First thing that happened to me was TTG. So TTG means towards a total graduate. It was something that my school organized while I was still at school, and it was kind of like a 2-week boot camp. And before then I'd been reading books, but I was kind of person that even if I would say, okay, let me read a book, because I knew reading was important, I've always known that. So okay, let me read a book. I'd pick up one book in January, and I would still be on that same book in December. I would read one book for like 12 months and I won't be done, because so I was reading, or I'd read a few books here and there, but during TTG was that time where I would call it like a tipping point. The point where it's like you have a glass jar and you're filling it with water, and the water continues to build up until it gets to a point where it overflows. That's the tipping point. So I had known books are important, but at this program, boom, I knew straight after the program I started building my library. I was like, no, we are going to be readers. We are going to be readers. So for you, it might not be TTG. For you, it might be this video. Yeah. For you, it might not be this video. For you, it might be a conference that you've gone for. For you, it can be like a conversation with a friend. Whatever the trigger is, the most important part is you make a firm decision. And I'm going to read. I'm going to focus on my personal development, and the way to do this is through reading. I mean, it's not the only way, but if you want to get the knowledge, you have to go to where it is, which is mostly in books. The second tip is to always have a book in hand. If you know me, you know that you will never find me anywhere. You never open my bag and not see a book. And it's because you have so many opportunities to read during the day. For instance, I step out and I'm in transit. If you live in a city like I live in, where traffic is one of the things to look forward to when you're coming here. If you live in one of those cities, congratulations, because when you're sitting in traffic, you can be reading. That's if you're not driving, of course. So if you have a book in hand, it makes up for times like that when you're in transit. Another thing is when you're in queues. If you go to the bank, and typically if you go to any bank, you wait in those their chairs, you know those chairs. So if you go to the bank and you have a long waiting time, or you go anywhere, you go to pick up your child from the daycare and you have to maybe wait a little before they bring. Anytime you have to wait, any waiting time, when you're in a queue, when you're waiting for someone to come and meet you, if you have a book in hand, you can always pick it out and read it at those times. The next tip is pretty simple. Start building the habits with smaller books. I know you want to read Richest Man in Babylon. Okay, Richest Man in Babylon is a small book actually. You want to read can I think of a big book? The big book I'm thinking about is a relationship book. But let me say you want to read one of Kitchen Kuman's book, which is bulky. Or you want to read God's Generals. So you want to read a big book. It's nice. It's a good endeavor. But if you're somebody who doesn't like reading already, I'd advise that you start with smaller books, like books that are like 50 pages, 40 pages. Somebody Moved My Cheese. There are many of, I think, Pastor Sam DME's books that are like that. I think Bishop Oyedepo also has books like that are pretty small in comparison with other books. I would advise that you start with those kind of books, because completing, and let your goal be just, I want to complete this book. I remember when I completed my first book, I completed this book. I finished it, yeah. Anyway, you want to do that. You want to find a book, finish it, and be glad that you did. And then as you do that, as you continue to do that, you start expanding the number of pages, and it get easier. My next tip is an accountability partner. Somebody you're reading the book with someone, and let's say you even review it with the person. So you're reading the book with. I had a friend that we were reading the books together and then sharing our life insight. Even though we didn't do that for all the books, but when we had the time, we share. Okay, this is what I learned. This were my highlights, and we did that, and it was fantastic because we complete the books together and move to the next book. So I think if you can find a friend who has a similar goal, and you're like, hi, what if we read this book together? What do you think? Another thing you could do is join a book club. Being in a community where people are reading and reviewing the books can be helpful for you. It could be encouraging for you. My next tip would be read for wisdom and not for knowledge. So yeah, you could get into I read 100 books in a year. Great, amazing knowledge. But there could also be, I'm struggling with time management and I need to learn how to manage my time better. So I look for an author who is authorized to speak on the topic. And how do I know an authorized? An authorized author is a person whose life shows the fruit of whatever I'm trying to learn from his book. So if I say I'm reading a book on wealth, is the author wealthy? If I say I'm reading a book on accounting, what experience does this author have in this area? You get the point of reading books for me is wisdom. I want to get the wisdom that these people have, and I've distilled into these books, and I realize that people are very generous with their wisdom in their books, because it's a thing that is telling of them. Your name is there, so yeah, it tells of their knowledge, their expertise, so they put their heart into writing books. Why will I not go and collect the wisdom that is freely given and freely available? So, but I don't read books for knowledge sake because knowledge pops up. But aside that, because why am I wasting my time? I don't want to read the book. No. Why am I reading the book? It's because there's a specific thing I'm trying to conquer. There's a specific or see myself grow in. There's a specific area of life I'm trying to gain knowledge and gain understanding in. And or there's a specific question I have and I need an answer to. So I would already have my goal for picking up a book. I'm reading this book because I want to learn how to do this and I know that once I'm done reading this book, I'm going to know how to do this. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing your comments, and let me know if any of these tips helps you read better, or which of these tips stands out most for you. And I hope that you have a more advanced 2025 because of the knowledge you're able to gain because of these habits you're about to build. So take care. Do have a lovely week. Bye.